Welcome back to VibeVision, where we take a deep dive into some of the most fascinating cars from automotive history. Today we're talking about a car that carried big expectations when it first hit the market, the 1971 Chevrolet Vega. This was Chevrolet's entry into the compact car scene at the dawn of the 70s, aimed at competing with imports and giving American buyers an affordable, efficient, and stylish option. It's a car remembered for both its ambitious engineering and its controversial legacy. Let's break it down from the outside in, then talk about how it performed and take a quick look inside. The first impression of the 1971 Chevrolet Vega starts with its exterior styling. This was a compact car that didn't want to look boring. At just over 4.2 meters long, the Vega had proportions that made it appear sleek yet practical. The designers went for a clean, straight-edged look that matched the era's styling cues, but they gave the Vega a sharp front end with a wide horizontal grille, slim rectangular headlights, and a sloping hood that gave it a sporty, modern character compared to the boxier compacts of the 60s. Chevrolet wanted this car to feel youthful, and you can see it in the crisp lines along the sides and the low stance that made it look agile even while parked. Around the back, the design continued with simplicity and balance. The rear featured dual round taillights on each side, echoing Chevrolet's styling language seen on the Camaro, which added a sense of family identity. The trunk was small but practical, and the rear proportions gave the car a tidy, purposeful appearance. The Vega was available in several body styles, including a two-door hatchback, notchback sedan, wagon, and later a panel delivery. The hatchback quickly became the most popular because it captured the sporty compact feel, while the wagon added versatility. Regardless of which version you look at, the Vega carried a certain elegance in its restraint. It didn't scream muscle car, but it didn't look like a bland economy box either. Chevrolet also offered a variety of trims and wheel options to give the Vega more visual appeal. Some models came with chrome detailing, while higher trims added rally wheels that further boosted its sporty image. The hatchback, in particular, stood out in bright 70s paint colors like orange, lime green, and metallic blue, giving it that youthful vibe Chevrolet was aiming for. It's worth noting that when it first came out, the Vega was praised for its good looks, often considered one of the best-looking small cars in America at the time. Now, when it comes to performance, the Vega was an ambitious car for Chevrolet. Under the hood sat a new 2.3-liter aluminum inline-4 engine, known as the Dura-Built 140. This was a bold move by General Motors, as aluminum blocks weren't common in affordable compact cars of the era. The base version of the engine produced around 90 horsepower, which may not sound like much, but for a lightweight compact car in the early 70s, it was enough to move it around with decent energy. Buyers also had options for higher output versions with a 2-barrel carburetor, or even a performance-oriented GT trim that pushed closer to 110 horsepower. The Vega was rear-wheel drive, with a 3-speed manual transmission standard, and buyers could opt for a 4-speed manual or even a 2-speed Power Glide automatic. The manual gearbox paired with the relatively light weight of the car made it reasonably fun to drive around town. Steering was light, maneuverability was sharp, and the suspension setup, independent coil springs up front and a solid axle in the rear, gave the Vega a mix of comfort and handling that was competitive for its class. It wasn't a muscle car, but it was never supposed to be one. Instead, Chevrolet wanted a compact that felt confident, practical, and efficient, and the Vega delivered on that promise, at least in its early road tests. Of course, we can't talk about the Vega without addressing its controversial side. While the engine design was innovative, early models were plagued with issues such as overheating, oil consumption, and rust problems. These reliability challenges hurt the Vega's reputation over time. But if you focus purely on the driving experience when new, the Vega offered something refreshing. It was quicker and more stylish than many of the imports it competed against, like the Toyota Corolla or the Datsun 510. And it had that distinctly American feel in the way it rode. Chevrolet even went racing with the Vega in some forms, showing that the car had potential beyond its compact commuter image. The Vega's fuel economy was another selling point. With gas mileage in the mid-20s per gallon, it appealed to buyers. who wanted something more efficient than traditional American sedans of the time. In an era just before the oil crisis, Chevrolet was ahead of the curve by offering a smaller, thriftier car that still had some style and performance. Shifting to the interior, the Vega kept things straightforward but functional. Step inside, and you'd find a clean, simple dashboard layout with large, easy-to-read gauges and controls. The base models had a lot of plastic and vinyl, which kept costs low, but higher trims offered more comfortable bucket seats and sportier touches, like wood grain accents. For a compact car, the Vega had decent seating space in the front, though the rear seats were tighter, especially in the hatchback model. Cargo space in the hatchback was practical, and folding down the rear seats made it flexible for carrying, more than just passengers. The GT trim spiced up the cabin with a sportier steering wheel, extra instrumentation, and upgraded upholstery. It gave the driver a sense that the car was more than just basic transportation. While it didn't match the luxury or refinement of European imports, it struck a balance between affordability and a touch of personality. Overall, the 1971 Chevrolet Vega was a car full of promise. It looked sharp. It drove with a level of agility that surprised many, and it gave Chevrolet a foothold in the compact car market. Its problems are well documented, but when it launched, the Vega represented a bold step forward for General Motors. It showed that American manufacturers were willing to experiment with new materials, new designs, and new ideas in order to meet changing buyer demands. Today, the Vega has a mixed reputation. Some enthusiasts remember it fondly for its styling and its potential, while others see it as an example of how rushed innovation can backfire. But if you look at it purely as a product of its time, the 1971 Vega captured the optimism and experimentation of early 70s car culture. It tried to deliver affordability, style, and performance in one compact package, and for a brief moment, it succeeded. That wraps up our deep dive on the 1971 Chevrolet Vega. It may not have lived up to all of its early hype, but it remains a fascinating chapter in Chevrolet's history, and a car that continues to spark conversation among enthusiasts and collectors. Thanks for joining us here on VibeVision. If you enjoyed learning about the Vega and want to see more explorations of classic cars from all eras, make sure you stick around for our next video.